Welcome to Scary Stories. This time we've got a collection of dogmen and werewolves inside your home at night. Let's kick it off with this first allegedly true tale that we call Dogman Home Invader. Dear Scary Stories NYC, I sit here in the evening of my days, thinking back to a long time ago, when I was just a lad, full of adventure and curiosity. It was the summer of 1971, a simpler time in rural Michigan, when my family decided to escape the noise and chaos of the city and find solace in a small cabin nestled amid the towering pines. Little did we know that this vacation would etch a memory into our hearts that would be retold for generations to come. We arrived at the cabin with eager anticipation, weary from the journey, yet excited to immerse ourselves in nature's embrace. The cabin was modest, built with rustic charm, its walls echoing with the laughter and stories of previous generations. A sense of tranquility washed over us as we unpacked our belongings, eager to explore our new surroundings. It was on the second night of our sojourn that things took an unexpected turn. As the darkness enveloped the land and the stars ignited the sky, a chilling gust of wind swept through the forest, unleashing an eerie howl that sent shivers down my spine. My father dismissed it as a mere trick of the wind, but little did he know that fate had an encounter in store for us later that night. As we sat around the flickering glow of the fireplace, engulfed in my father's tales of the past, a sound pierced the silence outside. It was a low growl, a guttural warning that we were in trouble. We exchanged anxious glances, our hearts pounding with trepidation. Abruptly and loudly, the cabin door creaked open, revealing a menacing silhouette against the inky blackness of the night. A creature stepped into our cabin, its eyes glowing like fiery embers in the dim light. My pulse quickened, my mind reeled, unable to fathom the sight before me. It stood on two legs, but its body was covered in fur, its face bearing the unmistakable features of a wolf. The legends whispered among the locals had come to life before our eyes. The scent of many different kinds of food hung heavy in the air, enticing the creature toward our meager provisions. It lunged toward the kitchen, oblivious to our pleas and desperate shouts. Panic ensued as the family desperately tried to ward off this dogman creature. My father and older brother mustering every ounce of courage to defend us. A fierce battle ensued, the clashing of wills echoing through the cabin. Grunts and growls mingled with the sound of breaking furniture. The dogman fought relentlessly, its primal instincts driving it to possess the food that had beckoned. My father and brother fought back, their determination and love for their family becoming an unyielding shield of protection. Eventually, fatigue claimed the creature, hunger and exhaustion forcing it to flee into the night, leaving behind a trail of our broken belongings and our shattered nerves. As the adrenaline subsided, we gazed upon the aftermath of our struggle, mingled with relief, and rather impressed at the strength my family had exhibited. In the days and weeks and years that followed, the incident that we lived through that fateful summer night became our family's secret bond, something that mattered only to us, but mattered a great deal to us. We continued our vacation with a newfound appreciation for the unexplained mysteries of the world, a reminder of the thin veil between reality and realms of folklore. Now, as I sit in the twilight of my life, that memory remains as vivid as ever, etched deep within my soul. That encounter with the dogman, so many years ago, reminds me of the potential power of familial love. It defines who we were then, and it shaped who we've become since then. And as I recount the tale to my nieces and nephews, I hope they too will learn the valuable lessons concealed within that extraordinary summer of 1971. Number 2. Werewolf Squatter. Dear Scary Stories NYC, I've got a tale to tell of horror springing from exhaustion. Not just any kind of exhaustion, but the kind that comes after a good long ocean voyage. As I stepped out of the taxi, the weight of ennui pressed against my shoulders. The vacation had been lovely, a much-needed escape from the demanding world of medicine where I earned my living as a doctor. But now reality lurked just beyond my front door. My boyfriend Alex and I had just spent 2 blissful weeks on a luxury cruise, savoring over a dozen sunsets and immersing ourselves in the tranquility of the ocean waves. But all good things must come to an end. We trudged up the pathway to our quiet suburban home, the scent of the neighbor's dog poo on our front lawn mingling with the strange apprehension that gripped my chest. It was a hot summer evening, the moon casting an eerie glow on the bug-infested, buzzing landscape, emphasizing the eeriness that I was feeling. As we reached the front porch, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was just weird. Unlocking the front door, we made our way inside, only to be met with an unsettling silence. Normally our home would be filled with warmth and familiarity, but today it felt devoid of life, as if we had stumbled into a stranger's abode. Alex called out, asking, "Hello?" his voice echoing through the empty house. I asked him who in God's name he was calling out to, since we fired the maid before our vacation. He didn't even laugh at my sense of humor the way he normally does. He just looked all serious and insisted that something was just weird. Now, when I had thought that same thought about a minute earlier, I felt certain I was right. But somehow, hearing the same thing coming from my salt-of-the-earth comrade in life, Alex, made it sound unintelligent. I'm not sure why. I began lecturing the poor boy on how the term just weird doesn't even mean anything concrete at all. He hung his head low, having been taught a hard lesson by life and by me. The silence was shattered when a low guttural growl seeped up from the basement beneath us. Instinctively, Alex and I made our way toward the basement door. As we descended the creaky stairs, an otherworldly odor assailed our senses, a mix of damp earth and musk that hinted at primal wilderness. What awaited the two of us in the basement was beyond comprehension. There before our eyes was a man, at least something that resembled a man. His feral eyes gleamed with untamed hostility, and a coarse layer of fur covered the increasingly distorted edges of his face. His body trembled with each ragged breath, muscles bulging beneath his tattered clothes, as he wavered between man and beast. My medical instincts kicked in, urging caution and compassion. Something untoward had clearly befallen this person, and now he was trapped between his humanity and something else. Yet despite the transformation unfolding before us, Alex and I stood tall, refusing to yield to fear. We had faced adversity in the past, and we would not let this monstrous situation overwhelm us today. Taking a deep breath, I stepped forward, my voice steady. "We mean you no harm. Do you understand us? Can you calm your inner turmoil long enough to reason?" The werewolf man snarled, baring a row of razor-sharp teeth. Our hearts raced, but our determination held firm. Realizing that words alone wouldn't pacify this beast, we had to prove that we were not to be messed with. With Alex standing bravely at my side, we mustered every ounce of strength, both mental and physical, that we possessed. Together we fought back against our intruder, battling with a combination of agility, quick thinking, and makeshift weapons that we found scattered throughout the basement. Its growls turned to yelps as blows struck true, and the beastman's resistance weakened. Our energy soared as we drove the intruder back, leaving him dazed and disoriented. In this brief window of opportunity, we made our final stand, determination radiating from our eyes as we faced our foe, head on. With a final snarl, the werewolf man turned and fled, escaping into the night. I ordered Alex to pursue him in the name of medical science, and he did, to the limited extent of his abilities. When it comes to athletics, Alex is better at watching than doing. But he's a charmer, so I certainly don't care. This strange hairy man proved that werewolfism or lycanthropy is not only a mental affliction, but one that can produce physical changes to a person. If I could only have him back to study, I'm sure I could do some very important work. Lycanthropes might no longer need to live in the shadows, coping with the shame of their illness. We might be able to change things in a meaningful way for a lot of people, or whatever werewolves personally prefer to be called, if not people. I hope the term werewolf itself is not dated or offensive, and I stand prepared to apologize and make amends if it is. As the dust settled after our battle, Alex and I stood in the aftermath, our breaths heavy, our hearts pounding. Victory mingled with a sense of relief as we realized we had sent the beastman running, reclaiming our home and our sense of security. Drenched in sweat and the surreal nature of what had just transpired, we locked eyes once more, interconnected in our triumph. No longer just a doctor and his boyfriend, we were now warriors in our own right, and together, we would face whatever challenges life threw our way, even if it meant going to the store and buying rubber gloves and disinfectant to clean our basement out. I mean, yick. Number 3. Dogman in My Pantry. I never quite believed in any of the Midwestern legends or myths until I moved into my new home in the heart of the Wisconsin woods up north. My life had taken an unexpected turn, leading me to the serene beauty of nature, far away from the hustle and bustle of the city. Little did I know, this tranquil paradise would soon become the backdrop for the most bizarre encounter of my life. It was a sunny afternoon, and after spending the entire morning unpacking and settling in, I decided to go shopping and stock up my pantry. The drive to the nearest grocery store was a peaceful one as I marveled at the towering trees that surrounded the winding road. Little did I know that even these magnificent guardians held secret tales of their own. I returned home with groceries and a lot of dry goods, eager to organize my new haven. As I entered the front door, a sense of calm washed over me, the solitude of the woods embracing my soul. But as I stepped into the kitchen, a chilling shiver ran down my spine, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was not alone in that room. A low guttural growl tickled the hairs on the back of my neck, causing my heart to skip a beat. I turned my head ever so slightly and froze. There in my pantry stood an extraordinary, otherworldly creature that defied any logical explanation. It was clearly a dogman, a dog-headed human rumored to roam these very woods. Fear and curiosity wrestled within me, making it almost impossible to act. Its yellow, unsettling eyes met mine, as if taunting me for intruding on its territory. My mind struggled to comprehend the reality I was facing, but the stolen box of crackers dangling from its snarling jaw brought me back to the present moment. With a swift and agile movement, the dogman made its escape through the kitchen door, disappearing into the dense forest. My instinctual fear turned to bewilderment as I processed what had just occurred. Was this a creature from folklore? Or was my mind playing tricks on me? I couldn't deny what my eyes had witnessed, but it seemed somehow too fantastical to be true. Throughout my time in my new home, I can't shake the memory of that encounter. As I delve into local folklore, I discover more and more tales of dogman sightings in these woods, stories passed down through generations. Though my rational mind yearned for an explanation grounded in reality, a part of me couldn't help but embrace the mystique that envelops this enchanted land. From that day forth, I learned to navigate the delicate balance between the known and the unknown, as my new home has become a place where legends dance with reality, and even the most mundane experiences hold the potential for extraordinary memories. Story number 4. Urgent advice needed. Dogman problem in our backyard. Dear Scary Stories NYC, I hope this email finds you well. I have recently stumbled upon your YouTube channel, and after being impressed by you and your viewers' knowledge of all things eerie, I believe you or your viewers may be able to help me with a rather unusual predicament I'm currently facing. Allow me to introduce myself. My first name is Mark, and I reside in a quiet suburban neighborhood in the Midwest. I share my home with my beloved pet Mastiff Brutus. Now, Brutus is not an ordinary dog. He possesses a rather extraordinary gift, which is making friends with the unlikeliest of people and creatures. And this is where my current problem lies. Brace yourself because it's a bit difficult to believe. A few weeks ago, I noticed that Brutus had been disappearing for long periods in our backyard. Intrigued, I decided to investigate what had claimed my dog's attention for such extended periods. To my utter disbelief, I discovered that Brutus had struck up an unlikely companionship with a being that can only be described as a dogman, or dare I say a man-dog amalgamation of some sort. As strange as it sounds, it seems that these two unlikely friends have developed a bond through play, chasing each other around my yard, and even sharing dog toys. While I am initially somewhat fascinated by this unusual sight, I have become increasingly concerned, due to the proximity of neighboring houses, where children live on both sides of me. Needless to say, the presence of a dogman in our yard not only raises eyebrows, but also poses a potential health risk, especially considering the unknown nature of these beings. The last thing I want is for someone else to witness this enigmatic creature and become frightened or harmed. Hence, I am desperate to find a solution to make the dogman leave our backyard permanently. Scary Stories NYC and your viewers, I implore you to lend me your expertise in dealing with the supernatural and the strange. How can I go about driving away this dogman safely and ensuring that it doesn't return? I am open to any suggestion you may have, whether they require specific rituals or lesser-known protective measures. Please understand that my desire to remove the dogman from our surroundings is solely driven by the safety and well-being of the community children and those living in proximity to my property. If there is any way to peacefully and permanently separate these unique friends, I would be eternally grateful. Thank you in advance for considering my peculiar request. I eagerly await your wise counsel, and may the supernatural forces guide you toward a resolution. Number 5. I need my werewolf girlfriend to move out. I never thought I would be sitting here, heart pounding, mind racing, trying to come up with the right words to ask my beautiful girlfriend to move out. It's not what I ever envisioned for us, but the shocking truth has come to light. I discovered something last night that still has me questioning my own sanity, something that neither logic nor reason seems to be able to explain. It seems my new girlfriend Carly is a werewolf. It all started innocently enough, just like any other Sunday evening. I had just made us a lovely dinner, and we were enjoying each other's company, laughing and joking about what we were planning to do the next week. Carly seemed a bit off. Her gaze would occasionally drift toward the moon outside the window, her eyes glinting in an almost predatory way. At first it didn't really register with me consciously. I convinced myself it was just a trick of the light, a figment of my overactive imagination. But as the night progressed, it became impossible to ignore or deny. When the clock struck midnight, Carly's entire demeanor changed. It was as if a switch had been flipped, and a sort of darkness clouded her eyes. I watched amazed and horrified as her body began to change, her bones cracking and shifting into an entirely different shape. Fur sprouted from her skin, covering her now elongated limbs. She let out a guttural growl, then sent shivers down my spine. My mind couldn't grasp what was happening before my eyes. My beautiful, caring girlfriend had transformed into a beast, a creature right out of the stories my grandfather used to tell me. I was frozen in terror, glued to the spot, unable to move or to make a sound. All I could do was watch as she bounded toward the window, leaping out into the night. Hours later, when Carly returned, the alarms in my mind were still blaring, but I couldn't find any words to confront her with. Her human form had returned, and she seemed completely unaware of the supernatural transformation that had just taken place. How was I supposed to tell her what I knew? That I had witnessed her transformation into something that belonged in a nightmare. Days stretched into weeks, and I found myself torn between my love for Carly and the undeniable truth that she was a werewolf. I observed her closely, noticing subtle changes in behavior, her increased strength, her unearthly agility. How long had she been living this double life? What were her intentions? Questions circled my mind, but answers were nowhere to be found. When I couldn't really tell if she even knew she was a werewolf, the realization hit me like a freight train. I had to ask Carly to move out. I couldn't bear the thought of living with someone whose inner demon literally scared me. It wasn't an easy decision. My heart ached at the thought of losing her, but I couldn't help but fear for my own safety. Would I become her prey one day? Or worse, would her monstrous tendencies surface when I least expected it, leading to unspeakable consequences? Summoning all my courage, I sat Carly down one evening, praying my words would come out right and that she would understand. As we looked into each other's eyes, I could see the confusion and the hesitation on her face. "Carly," I began, my voice trembling, "I think it would be best if you found somewhere else to live." Her eyes widened in surprise, and a whirlwind of emotions flashed across her face. She shook her head in disbelief. "What? Why?" she stammered, her voice quivering. I took a deep breath, my hands shaking. "It's difficult for me to explain," I began, "but I've discovered something. Something I can't ignore. It's not about us, Carly. It's about your safety. And mine. Please try to understand." She pleaded with me, asking for details, explanations, anything to make sense of the situation. But how could I possibly explain the impossible? How could I tell her what I had seen, without either sounding like a madman, or forcing her to admit her secret. So I let her go, hoping she would find the answers she needed on her own. Inside, my heart broke as Carly packed her belongings and left, her tears mixing with my own silent sorrow. I know that maybe one day she'll find a way to explain the inexplicable, to give meaning to the unreality that invaded our lives. But for now, I can only hope that she finds peace, both within herself and in the midst of a full moon's haunting glow. CS just donated to the Bigfoot Food Fund, and I must say that I was stunned. Please welcome tonight's executive producer and our supervising producer on every other night. She's one of those people that we couldn't do the show without. And in return, she gets to see all our perks, as well as secret stuff that nobody else knows about. If you would like to get all the cool stuff that CS gets, then listen to what this next guy has to say. Henry?
Thanks, Biggie. And thanks to all of you for watching this far. If you liked it, please click like. If you'd like to see more of our work, please subscribe. And also click that bell icon if you'd like to be notified when we put out a new episode. To become an executive producer, you can donate to us through the thanks button under each of our videos or through our paypal.me/PeterBernard209 page. To receive cool perks like secret uncensored Dogman episodes far too wild to ever run on this channel, you can become a YouTube channel member by clicking the join button, or join our PayPal subscribers club at peterbernard.com. Joining either at the $3 a month level or above gets you access to our over 25 hours of secret uncensored Dogman stories available nowhere else. Do you have a scary story about Dogman or some other kind of high strangeness that happened to you? Let us know by emailing us at scarystoriesnyc@gmail.com or by leaving us a voicemail message at 804-LA-SCARY. You may need to call back on that one. It cuts off after, I think, 3 minutes. And if you don't want to do any of that stuff, thank you for simply watching to the end. Good night, and have a scary tomorrow.
Come back for more scary stories.